Greetings, knowledge seekers. The Force is with you. My name is Priyon Soni, and today I'm going to show you Pioneer DJ's brand new addition to the REV series of DJ controllers, the DDJ-REV5. So let's grab some music from the folks that made this video possible.
This video is brought to you by Direct Music Service. Check out the description or the pinned comment below for discount codes.
Priyon Soni, may the Force be with you.
As always with product launches, a full disclosure. If you didn't already know, I'm an official product demonstrator for Pioneer DJ, an Alpha Theta brand. This video on my channel is a demo and not a review, but it's not done in collaboration or partnership with Alpha Theta. What's the difference? Well, in my demo here, I get to share with you how I would use it and what I like about it while the gear is still here in my studio. If you need a full in-depth breakdown, check out the overview video on Pioneer DJ USA's channel, which I'll leave right here. Also, if you plan on getting one, I left my Zounds affiliate link down below. Now let's check out this bad boy. So off the bat, because it's a REV series controller, it's oriented in battle style, much like a turntable when it's rotated 90 degrees. Now I know there will be those comments.
Why does it need to be in battle style if it's not a turntable with a tone arm?
It's fairly simple. It matches the muscle memory of folks who use turntables, making it easier to go back and forth between their turntables and their DJ controller. The REV5 looks similar to the REV7, but instead has a CDJ style, non-motorized jog. For someone like me, who's more used to using CDJs over turntables, this works more for my workflow. I'm one of the few people who actually prefers scratching on a CDJ jog wheel. The jog includes a tension adjust knob, just like you would find on a CDJ and Pro DJ controllers. You can have it loose, you can have it tight, high friction, or where I like it, just in the middle. You have a buttery smooth, latest generation Magvel fader crossfader. It's not the Pro version with the feel adjust knob like on the REV7, but the tension is tuned just right where it still feels slick, but not too slippery where it might bounce. Now, because it doesn't have motorized platters, it only weighs 13.7 pounds or 6.2 kilograms, which makes it friendly for you mobile DJs that want to pack light. And just for comparison's sake, since they are similar in dimension, the REV7 is 23.5 pounds or 10.7 kilograms. Now, one of the styling differences you'll notice right away is the trapezoid-shaped bumpers on the outer edge of the body. It's bezeled on the edges as well and helps reduce dings and dents by reducing the corners so it's not so sharp. Other mobile DJ friendly features is that it has a full complement of professional inputs and outputs, XLR and RCA master, TRS booth, 2 microphones, one is combo, the other is TRS with an attenuation knob, and the mics have level knob and a shared 2-band EQ in the front with talkover, and there's an RCA auxiliary input with signal boost for mobile devices. There are 2 USB Type-C ports so you can connect up to 2 laptops, and they are reverse compatible if you use USB-C to A for an older computer. There is now also a USB Type-C power port. If you ever lose, forget, or misplace your power supply, you can use a Type-C power supply that matches or exceeds the power spec of the one included. And what's great, you can pretty much pick up a Type-C power supply at Walmart or Target, making it easier and cheaper to get a replacement or a backup. The DDJ-REV5 is not only compatible with Serato DJ Pro, but it's also compatible with Rekordbox. It's the first REV series controller to be compatible with Rekordbox, and it's capable of 4 decks with dual deck control. The mixer section has a familiar S-series mixer style layout with performance pads above the channel faders and effects levers above the pads. The REV5 uses software-only effects, but allows you to mix up to 6 effects at once. So if you want to do echo, or you want to mix your echo, reverb, and flanger, or just get nuts and have all 6 on. Now, before we talk about the new and unique features of the REV5, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. It helps my channel out in the algorithm, which helps me bring more videos like this. If you remember on the REV7, there is a secondary set of pads above each deck for the instant scratch section. Basically, the blue buttons above the platter. It can also be used to trigger the first 4 pads of 4 selectable pad modes. Here on the REV5, there is a similar set of pads, except they are dedicated Serato stem buttons that let you mute or solo your Serato stems right on the board. And just like on the REV7, you still have your choice of 4 pad modes, which includes Scratch Bank. Now, if you're a REV7 owner and you're watching this and you wish you had stem control on your instant scratch section, not to worry. I have a whole tutorial video where you can easily map your instant scratch pads to Serato stems. Here's the link right here. Now Serato has 4-part stems which match the 4 buttons: vocal, melody, bass, and drums. In Rekordbox, you'll notice that the bass and melody buttons are in sync. So when you press one, you're basically pressing both. Now when I use stems, I actually like to control them using the individual EQ knobs. Just like the part ISO feature on the DDJ Flex 10, the REV5 has what's called stem level. You can activate it pretty much identically as you do part ISO on the Flex 10. Hold shift and click one of the headphone cue buttons on the channel you want to use. Now your bass knob controls the level of your drums, the mid will control the melody and bass combined, and the treble knob will control the level of your vocals. Now here's a cool thing you can do with stems. It's called stem move. You can grab a stem from another deck, including a playing deck, and move it to another. It's pretty easy to use. So if you have a track right here and you want to move the vocal over here, all you do is hold the stem button and click the vocal stem. And you can do that with any stem you want. So now I have the acapella over here and instrumental over here. This gives you an easy and quick way to split your stems with one hand if you wish to scratch an acapella over its own instrumental. It's similar to part instant double on the Flex 10, but instead of using the shift button, you hold the stem button and click the stem on the deck that you want to move it to. If you wish to use the pads to trigger the stems, there is a dedicated pad mode for stems. This gives you both the 4 mute buttons on the top and the Serato stem effects on the bottom. Since we're talking about the pads, let's talk about this new one called Piano Play. It's similar to pitch play, but instead of giving you 8 notes at a chromatic half-note interval, it will open up all 16 pads like a piano. So let's open it for channel 1. If you look, the bottom row is all lit up. Your root note's right here. And up here, some of the buttons are not lit up. If you don't recognize this pattern, it's actually made to look like a piano. The white keys on the bottom and the black keys on top, the blue ones up here. This lets you take a selected hot cue and play it like a piano by pitch shifting it, since you can see the entire scale. And you can pretty much move the scale up to an octave up and down. When you hold shift, it'll show you your available hot cues for a song. So I'm going to select this one. I'm going to solo the vocal stem. And let's shift this one down. Another really cool thing here is that you can roll your notes, something you normally couldn't do with hot cues. If you don't lift your finger off the current note when you trigger the next, it still registers a note, similar to a monophonic synth. This way, you don't have to lift your finger from every pad before hitting the next one, which can sometimes sound choppy. So instead of, you can smoothen it out like this. You can get really creative with your tone play using this feature. And like I showed you, the parameter buttons on channel 1 let you go up and down the scale, while channel 2's parameter buttons lets you toggle 3 different scales that illuminate on the pads. Here's minor pentatonic. Here's your major scale. And major pentatonic. Last thing about the pads, there's a feature on here called Combo Pad Mode, just like the DJM S11 and DJM S7. Basically, you can have 2 primary pad modes open at once on the main pads with the first 4 pads of each mode on the pad. So basically, if I hold hot cue and click sampler, now my sampler is open on the bottom 4, while my first 4 hot cues are on the top 4. And you can do that with all 4 primary pad modes, which is hot cue, roll, save loop, and sampler. So in total, you can have up to 3 pad modes open for each deck because you have this set of pads as well. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you want to finger drum some samples, then use Scratch Bank on the stem pads to jump between songs while you mix in different tone play from different songs using the hot cue on the top row. The creative palette is there if you wish to use it. Now let's talk about auto BPM transition. Now I know the words like auto and sync can make some DJs feel uncomfortable. Auto BPM transition, however, is a simple way for you to shift from one tempo to another. That's all it is. Similar to a pre-recorded transition track that a lot of you open format DJs use, except this time, it's not pre-recorded. Auto BPM transition allows you to be able to create your own tempo transition with any song. And you can even have two songs in the mix whose tempos are both transitioning together. If you've ever tried to manually move both tempo sliders together, you know it's quite difficult, if not impossible, to keep the two tempos in sync. Auto BPM transition not only can shift the tempo of a playing track, but can shift the incoming track in the mix at the same time. So you can do away with those predictable pre-recorded transition tracks that your audience starts to recognize and knows what song is going to be playing next. You can select how many bars the transition goes for by holding Shift and clicking the select button. You can go 1 bar, 2 bar, 4 bars, or 8 bars. And when you hit play on Auto BPM transition, it starts shifting the tempo. So I'm not going to show you audio on this just for copyright reasons, but I'm playing an 83 BPM track over here on deck 2, and on deck 1 is 100 BPM. So I'm going to select 4 bars. So I'm playing this track, and when I hit play on Auto BPM transition, it's going to start shifting for 4 bars to match 100 BPM on this track. Now, if you notice, track 1 on deck 1 is also shifting along with it. So you have two choices. You can either wait for the tempo change and drop the next track in, or you can mix both tracks right when you hit play so that they're both transitioning together. And it does more than just change the tempo. You can even set it so it can do a key sync of the incoming track, make it trigger an auto loop, or even mute certain stems of an outgoing track. Basically, you can make any track a transition track with an acapella out. So if I hold the select button, I can select which stem I want audible once I hit play on Auto BPM transition. So if this track was playing, once I hit play, it will only show me the vocals because that's what I selected. Now, like I said, it's a little difficult to show without getting hit by copyright, but let me know down below if you want me to do a separate video showing how this works. And if you want to see my full performance taking the REV5 out for a test drive with a Swift mix, follow this video right here.